Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm installing a wireless charging dock in the Land Rover Discovery Sport. It is a fairly straightforward installation that doesn't take too long, but there are a few tools you're going to need. I will put a list of these in the description down below, as well as a link to buy the product if you do decide that you want to add one of these to your Discovery Sport. So in order to get started on this installation, we first have to remove the center console. This is the bit with the cup holders that is near the gear selector. To remove this, it is going to take a lot of force. You need to pull directly upwards, starting from where the armrest bit is and working your way forwards towards the front of the vehicle. You can then lift it out and unplug the electronic handbrake and the gear selector. Now the next stage is removing the cup holder section, and for this you're going to need a Torx screwdriver set. So this is only held on with 4 screws, but it needs to come out so that we can access the cable where the wireless charging dock harness is going to plug into. Now the only reason why I'm removing the front cup holder is because it is full of coins and I don't want the coins to fly everywhere and land up having to search the whole vehicle for them. Now the harness is simply going to plug in here where the cigarette lighter cable goes. You're basically going to unplug the cigarette lighter and then the harness will go into the cigarette lighter and the original cable will go into the harness. This way you're not going to have to cut any cables or anything, and it's just a plug and play unit. Now as you can see, it is a bit fiddly to unplug this cable, but it's just because there's a little clip that you have to put pressure on while you pull the cable upwards. So it all does plug in fairly easily, but you do have to bring the cable towards the front of the cup holder and connect the original cable at this end, because the cable is barely long enough to reach where the wireless charging port goes. So just try and make the most out of every bit of length you have, and it will make your life easier once you've put it all back together. Now it is a little bit fiddly to get the cup holder back in position, just because you need to make sure all the cables are out the way. Now just ensure you find up the cables so that you don't bury them under there. I'd also recommend not putting the screws back in until you have the charging port in place, as well as ensure that you have the charger port plugged in and the handbrake and gear selector cable out of the way. So it's pretty simple to plug it all back in. The wireless charging dock just sits under the head unit and just slides into position and can be pushed down. Now it seems to stay in place pretty firmly, so I don't think there's any worry about that coming loose unless you want to pull it out, obviously. And it will be held in place once we put the center console back in. At this stage it's all plain sailing from here. You just put the screws back into the cup holder section, and then we're going to plug the handbrake and gear selector back in and push the center console unit back into position, starting from the front of the vehicle, working your way backwards, pushing down firmly. So of course this is a fairly straightforward and simple installation that doesn't take too long. You could set yourself aside 15 to 20 minutes and you should easily achieve it in this time. Now if you do want to buy yourself one of these, they cost around £35 on AliExpress. I've put a link in the description down below, which is also the cheapest one available on there. Now don't be fooled by the prices on some of them, because they are the same product. Some of them are just priced higher because people seem to buy products that are more expensive thinking that they are better quality, but they are in fact identical to the cheaper product.